And hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tech Informist. This is episode 62, recorded live on Friday, April the 24th, 2015. My name is Kevin Horvell. I'm joined by Brad Whiteside. Brad, how are you doing this fine Friday morning?
Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
Yep, Friday. It's
And
almost,
I guess it would be official Apple launch day, not
yes.
fake Apple launch day for the
Yeah,
ones.
people that got their pre-orders in early, and you're go ahead and should start seeing packages drop on your doorstep today with Apple Watches.
Some lucky people got them yesterday.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I actually finally had a chance to go look at the Apple Watch at our one of our local Apple stores yesterday, and
What'd you think?
it is a beautiful device. It
It is.
really looks nice. It's kind of tough to decide would I want the 38 or the 42 millimeter. And
Yeah, because I could kind of see. So originally, I was always thinking 42 millimeter because it's bigger.
right,
But when I got to thinking about it, the 38 might be better because as of right now at work, when I'm using gloves when I'm painting, my band fits underneath my glove perfectly. So if I were to get, a watch per se, the bigger face isn't necessarily a good thing in this instance. So I don't know. It's definitely something to think about for our listeners. I know I won't be getting one. I don't have an iPhone, so and it's a little out of my price range.
yeah, I would want to go in, making sure I've got, whether it's a long sleeve shirt or a jacket,
Oh yeah,
and with
definitely.
my backpack, just to see if it's going to like catch on
Catch.
anything.
Yeah.
Because with the LG watch, it catches on things because of its kind of squarish corners and sharp corners. Whereas the Apple Watch, everything's nice and round and smooth and everything.
Well, they say the new Samsung is going to be circle, so instead of a square. So
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
yeah, it would be interesting. I really like the digital crown. I mean, it just you know rotated very easy with the with the finger and stuff. It it is nice. It is beautiful. I was looking at that black sport, which I guess that's like 350.
Hmm. Yep, that's the one I would be looking at if, I was really actually serious.
Right. I don't know. They are really nice. And then I went over to the Microsoft store and had my first chance to look at the Surface 3.
And what'd you think of that?
I like typing on the keyboard, even though the keyboard is essentially the same as the type cover for the Pro
Pro 3.
3.
Yeah, it's
A
supposedly
little
it's
bit
just like a
smaller.
hair smaller.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you type a lot, you might be able to notice it. I know you and I would probably notice that since we type frequently.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I was worried about a 10-inch device being too small like that. But after checking it out, I'm actually okay with it. Like, especially with the 3:2 aspect ratio, it
Mhm.
just makes it perfect
Yeah.
for a 10-inch device. I
It
mean, obviously, the Surface Pro 3, is this the one I want. But I mean, if I can't afford that, this is a great option.
Right. I was looking at the port placement too, and the headphone jack, instead of being on the top left
Hmm.
of the Pro 3, it's on the bottom right on
I
the
love that.
Surface 3. And I'm like, I don't know if I mean, I guess in a way I do kind of like
So,
changing that placement because, whenever you got your headphone plugged into the top left of a Pro 3,
mhm.
it's at the top, cord's just dangling. Here on the Surface 3, it would just be at the bottom. It's just running right along the top of the desk or table you're at.
And that's where like your volume key and all your ports. I love that everything's all on like one side pretty much.
Yeah, the power button and volume keys are right there on the top, like where the power button is on the Pro 3. That's where the power and volume
That's
are on the
very like
Surface 3.
Nokia-esque because if you look at a Nokia phone or any of the new Lumias, all the buttons are on the right. And I love that because I hold it in my left hand and I can hit all those buttons, but then I use my right hand to touch the screen, which by the way, why does everybody want a phone that's one-handed? I'm not one of those people because I like to hold it in one hand and use the other for, typing or, use both for typing really, but use the other for selecting and whatnot. One, because it's a really big phone, and two, because I feel like I get more done with two hands.
Yeah, I mean, even with the smaller iPhone 6, I still I still use it with two hands. If I try to do something with one hand, like hit the back button up at the top left corner,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have to
A
tilt
little
the
bit of a
phone.
stretch.
Yeah, I have to tilt the phone a certain direction. All of a sudden, next thing you know, it's going into landscape mode, and the button, the target button is moved somewhere completely else. So that throws me off. So I still use it two-handed most of the time. I use it one-handed to unlock it and adjust the volume. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
So,
All right.
but it's good. Another thing too about the Surface 3 that I was like, I'm not sure if I like this part is the, I guess you would say the trackpad. Boy, it's a lot smaller than the.
Yeah, that is actually my biggest concern with that. I don't know how much I would use the Type keyboard on it. I feel like being as it's a tablet and I have a big, nice desktop, that I wouldn't use it as much, except when I'm on the go. But I don't know. I definitely want to give out one of those like Bluetooth mouses a try.
Right there, the Arc
Yes,
mouse.
that little guy.
That makes such a world of difference with a Pro 3.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I just I'm kind of in the same ballpark as Paul Thurrott. Like I'm not a trackpad guy, and I don't like them. But yeah, it's definitely a cool device to check out. So I'll keep that in
I'm
mind.
really looking forward to seeing what the sales numbers will be like on that. I think it's going to sell really well.
Well, guess what? Microsoft just released some numbers on their Surface division, and it is up 44% from the previous year. So they made 750-ish million in revenue on the Surface line. So it's really getting up there, and they're really doing well with it. And that was just last quarter.
Yeah,
So
I mean, they are definitely selling well. There's no
yes.
doubt about that. It's making Microsoft a lot of money right now.
It's like I said, I feel like the only thing that's going to save Windows Phone is going to be by proxy the Surface. Because if people develop for the Surface now, they can develop for the phone and the Xbox all at the same time with the new apps. That's a whole nother story. Well, maybe we should get on with the news. We got a lot to cover.
Yes, we do have a lot to cover. And for those people that are new to the Tech Informist, welcome. We are glad to have you, listeners, people in the chat room, glad to always have you as well, people that watch after the fact. What the Tech Informist is a show about, a couple guys getting together and just talking about technology, hoping to educate, inform, share some wonderful news stories that we find interesting, and take suggestions and submissions from listeners such as yourself as well. So if you have any topics you would like us to talk about in the future, email them to contact@thetechinformist.com or mention us on Twitter. Let us know via Twitter @techinformist, and we love to talk with our community. So as Brad said, let's get going on the news of the day. I'm going to go ahead and lead off. This is a story we could have probably touched on Wednesday, but there was a few other things I wanted to discuss on Wednesday. But Google has introduced Project Fi, a new way to keep you connected. Now, what this is, we've talked about it on previous episodes of Tech Informist, that Google was wanting to get into kind of their own wireless service. Now, they're obviously not going to be able to compete with the Verizons, the AT&Ts, and Sprint and T-Mobile. So what Google has done is it looks like they're partnering, not really partnering, I guess. They're working with Sprint and T-Mobile to build this Fi experience. The service is centered around three main areas of focus: high-quality connections, easy communication across networks, and a simple service experience. So the only phone that will work with this service at the moment is the Nexus 6. So Galaxy S6 owners, sorry. HTC One M9, sorry. You're just going to have to use a Nexus 6 if you want to take advantage of this. Now, pricing for this service is Google's wanting to keep things very simple. For $20 a month, you will get your basic service, which includes talk, text, Wi-Fi tethering, and international coverage. for every 1 gig of cellular data you would like to add to your plan, you will pay $10 a month. So for talk, text, and 1 gig of data, you're looking at $30 a month. So if you use 3 gig a month, you're looking at $50, and you will also get money back for the data on the plan that you don't use. So it's kind of like a little proration thing. Say you only use 2.5 gig of data. Well, you're going to get a little bit of money back from that. So you can sign up now for the Google Fi Early Access program. And as mentioned before, Project Fi is only compatible with the Nexus 6, which was actually developed with this whole Fi project in mind, because Nexus 6 has all the bands and can work with all carriers. Essentially, if you buy the unlocked version, you could use it on Sprint, you could use it on Verizon, you could use it on AT&T or T-Mobile. So that's one of the nice advantages of that. Your Fi phone number exists in the cloud, so you can use it with any phone, tablet, or laptop. So, Brad, is this something that you might consider? I mean, I know it's...
So I had a little bit of an emotional roller coaster with this story.
Yeah.
So when I first heard about this, I'm like, yes, Google is here to disrupt the carriers.
Everything.
And then they're like, but it only works with an Nexus 6. I'm like, well, okay, you know, fair enough. You know, that's their kind of flagship phone to look to. It's bare bones Android, which bravo, because we need more of these. And for all of you companies who like to put junkware on your Android phone, shame on you. Beyond that, then we got into the pricing, and at first I'm like, the pricing's okay, you know, I could survive on a gig a month, so $30, that's not a bad price. But then you told me about the proration, which I didn't know, and then I was like, okay, that's actually pretty cool. And the fact that you know, that they give you back money for the data that you don't use, that, you know, that's something in itself. And then the fact that your number exists in the cloud, which I didn't also know, that's even cooler. So the more I heard about this, the more I like it. And I feel like in the long run, once they get this up and going, they could really disrupt the carriers, and thank, you know, the tech gods for sending Google our way, and hopefully really just shaking things up like T-Mobile has been trying so very hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, working with Sprint and T-Mobile, obviously most people know that unless you live in a metro area, T-Mobile can be kind of a
spotty.
Yeah, spotty, very hit and miss on how your service is going to be. But what Fi will do is going to put you on the best connection for like wherever you are. If your LTE signal's not very strong, which kind of makes sense if you're using Sprint and T-Mobile, Fi will try to connect you to a Wi-Fi hotspot. So,
well, this kind of makes it to where your LTE signal almost doesn't matter if you're, even if you're at home, because at home you'll be connected to your Wi-Fi, and your Wi-Fi is going to be the strongest point.
Yeah, you'll be, talking and texting over Wi-Fi. Calls will easily transition between Wi-Fi and cellular networks. So, we'll see. You can.
Yeah, this is a good idea. Google, keep doing things like this. This makes me excited about Google, is when they do things like this, or Google Fiber, because it's there to disrupt things, and it's sorely needed. And if there's a company that can do it, it's Google, because they have the resources.
Oh, they've got plenty of resources. Plenty of resources.
Speaking of Google,
yeah,
there's a new Lenovo phone that wants to take on the Asus Zenfone 2, which is, if it's not bare bones Android, the Asus Zenfone 2 is definitely a cool phone. But this Lenovo, Kevin, I think is cooler. Because the Lenovo K80 is going to come with 4 gigabytes of RAM with a 4,000 milliamp battery, 5.5-inch display, nice, perfect, sweet spot.
Yep, right there where you like it.
It's going to come with the Intel Atom processor, interesting, 64 gigabyte internal storage, 13 megapixel camera, LTE, comes in black, silver, and red variants. So I thought that was white, bummer. But it definitely looks like a solid phone, and with a 4,000 milliamp battery, I know for a fact I would never run out of
Yeah.
battery.
Yeah. I mean, I love battery life, and seeing this 4,000 milliamp hour battery is nice.
So
4 gig of RAM. That's cool.
if this were
That's
to ever
nice.
come to the Americas, the price for this phone off contract would be $290.
Right.
That's
Approximately.
awesome. And then they would actually have a lesser variant for $240, and that's the 2 GB, 32 gigs of storage. So, but same battery. So that gives not only choice, but really great choice. And I would love to see this and the Zen phone make it to the US,
Yeah.
because they're just spec wise and for the money, great phone.
It was-
And they're by two of my favorite PC companies. So
it's funny looking at these images for this, and like the way that they have the speaker, the placement, and the design, and then looking at the front, it actually looks like a 1520
it does.
in a
It
way.
reminds me of a 1520 a lot.
And it actually just, looking at the front of it, it looks like a Windows phone.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe they make a Windows phone out of it.
Right. Which, I mean, we know Lenovo is one of Microsoft's biggest OEM. I mean, one of the biggest PC makers in the world. I would have to say they're probably the largest PC maker in the world.
Yeah, and with that new Intel chip and Intel and Windows, just makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a nice device. Hopefully, Lenovo can pull this off.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so moving on, we're big podcast fans here at the Tech Informist, because the Tech Informist is a podcast after all, and we often give out podcast suggestions like we did on our most recent episode 61. Popular podcast app Pocket Cast, which is one of my favorite podcasting apps. I use it all the time on Android, and I just don't feel like spending a couple extra dollars to get it on my iPhone here. So which I might just go ahead and do anyway and get it over with. Pocket Cast is actually heading to Windows Phone. This was kind of announced yesterday, so very, very excited about this. No time frame yet, but I would think it's probably not too far away. But gosh, it'll be so good to have it on Windows Phone, because I know there's a lot of nice little podcast apps, Podcast Lounge, and I mean, the default podcast app on Windows Phone's not all that bad. Just sometimes you can't always find everything in the directory when you do a search.
So, a few things. This is the one that you and JJ really like, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now I'm kind of excited about it. I wasn't sure because, but I figured that's why you had it in the show notes, because it's one of your guys' favorites and it's coming to Windows Phone. Now the question is it a universal app? Because if it is, that's cool.
At the start, it will not be.
Oh,
Front, it's
well,
going to be Windows Phone only. They'll see how it goes, and if there's
I'm still excited that they're bringing it, because I've heard very good things about it. Yeah, and in regards to the stock Windows Phone one, which is actually the one I'm using, because I like how when I'm on a different device and I sign in or whatever, it recognizes all the podcast stuff that I have saved and just brings it over to that phone, because I have 3 Windows phones. But for this app to also do that, that's something I'm interested in. That's why I use the stock app, because it just rolls it over to my other devices anytime I look anything new up, and I'm constantly doing that. So that's good news.
Yeah, Pocket Cast, just a quick little experience on the Android version. I have it installed on the Galaxy S6 Edge that I'm trying out, and also my Nexus 4, which Nexus 4 is my main Android device at the moment, since I don't have anything newer personally. And I queued up an episode of a show, and I was listening to it on the way home last night. And whenever I got home, I paused it, stopped it on the Galaxy S6 Edge. And then last night, whenever I was going to bed, because I always listen to podcasts as I'm going to sleep, plugged in, fired up the Nexus 4, and went to play, and it picked up where I left off on the S6 Edge on my Nexus 4 of that same episode. I was like, now that is synchronization at its finest.
Yeah, that is really cool. And to your point, Vernon, yeah, the stock app isn't incredibly feature rich, but I almost feel like I just don't need all those extra features. I don't dive too far into that. I'm more of plug and play, and just listen to episodes and get to the next one, and that's really all I do with them. I don't go too far into the weeds when it comes to podcast apps.
Yeah, I want to be able to find a show, find an episode, and listen to the episode.
And have it
That's really all I want.
And the
to
biggest thing is to have it sync across my devices. That's my biggest reason.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan. I mean, yeah, it's got to have the skip 30 seconds, go back 10 seconds, things like that. And I don't bump up the playback speed. I know a lot of people like to, like that chipmunk effect. I can't listen to a show at 1.5 or 2x speed. I'm like, I can't do it.
Nope, I can't either. I'm not one of those people. I'm also not one of those people who can listen to multiple podcasts. JJ. But how much is this just on Android right now?
I believe it's $2.99 or $3.99.
See, and being as it would be something that I would use a lot, I would definitely pay that. That's not bad. That's what a coffee or something. I just won't have coffee one day.
I mean, Pocket Cast has a nice web app itself that you can just go to the website and listen, and it syncs up with your account and everything as well. That you pay, it's like $6 or $7 for that experience.
Let's see. How many podcasts do I listen to?
I know on my Pocket Cast, I'm getting close to 100 that are actually in my list. I don't listen to all of them, obviously, because it's just way too much. But I find a new show and I might try them out.
So right now I have 12 podcasts, and I listen to every single one of them every week. And then with my newest one, Star Talk, it's so backlogged that I'm just constantly listening to it right now because I run out of all my other ones. So I still need more podcasts. So anytime you guys on the MS Mobile Show want to recommend more podcasts, please do, because I'm still looking. And so.
Nice. Speaking of Microsoft, why don't you talk a little bit about this Windows 10 tech preview stuff you got in here?
So I'm sure a lot of our listeners, or even yourself or JJ, you guys have tried out the Windows technical preview. I personally haven't, just for my own personal reasons. I'm a little skittish from trying to any of the previews on my actual personal computer.
But I mean, I understand. You've had some issues with your desktop. It was down for a while, and it was like a couple months you were dealing with this.
Yeah,
I just pinpoint it, so you're like, no, it's working fine. I'm not messing with it.
Exactly.
I don't blame you.
Exactly.
I don't blame you one bit.
But what Microsoft has detailed is how these build numbers are going to start to expire. So, for instance, build number 9841, expiration warnings will begin 2 weeks before the license actually expires. So, let's say on 4/2/15, it gives you a warning, hey, this is going to expire in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, license expires at 4/15, right? So once you get to that point, it's like, all right, your license is expired. You need to move up to the next one or whatever. 2 weeks after that, Windows will stop booting. So it's probably in your best interest to keep updating. And not, be grounded onto one build number and to constantly upgrade. I mean, the point is to get more features, better experience. So why you would stop upgrading is kind of silly, but maybe there's reasons for it. But
yeah, I mean, looking at that little graph that this article's got in it, build 9841, 9860, and 9879. Windows is going to stop booting next Saturday, or next Wednesday on the 30th.
Next Thursday.
I can't keep up with my dates.
But it's nice that it's in 2 week increments too. It gives people plenty of time. Gives them a warning, gives them the day it expires, That's nice. I'm glad they stuck with the 2 weeks versus like maybe 2 weeks for the warning and only 1 week till it stops booting or something.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, essentially, it looks like you've got nearly a month because expiration warnings begin, according to this, was April 2nd. License expiration date was April 15th. And then Windows is going to stop booting on
The
April
30th.
30th.
Yeah, so that's plenty of time.
It should be
Even
fine.
if you're on vacation or a business trip or what have you, that's plenty of time.
Yeah. I mean, especially because you're not using it on your primary device, right? Right, folks? So it
Evan
shouldn't be.
Williams.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be causing too much of an issue for most people. But no, that is good. It's nice to have this kind of information and to get an idea. I mean, when a new build comes out, I typically update it the day of or the day after. Like yesterday, I was gone and I didn't have my test machine with me, so I couldn't update to was it 10,061 or 10,061. I think is the newest build that came out yesterday or the day before. I'll get to it. So, talking back about the Apple Watch again, because it's kind of one of the biggest devices, around right now. It's one of the hottest items. Some of the pre-orders that were originally targeted for delivery in May and June are actually now readying for shipment. So some people that were thinking, that they might not get it until May or June, they're actually getting information that they might be getting it earlier than expected. So that is always nice to see. I don't know if that's going to be attributed to, because I mean, I know they said they had a lot of pre-orders. I don't know, exact number or anything like that, unfortunately.
They're saying there was about 1 million pre-orders or somewhere in that ballpark. So I could see, because I want to say there was either a rumor, I don't know if it was confirmed, that they had like 6 million made.
Okay.
And so for only about 1 million pre-orders, a sixth of the the stock that they have, I could see how people could get it earlier because it's not promised to 6 million people; it's promised to 1 million. So there's going to be some leftovers.
Yeah. So I mean, I know the build process to create one, to build one from start to finish takes a little bit longer than kind of most devices.
Okay.
So I mean, since we originally first saw this back in September,
that's true.
They've had a lot of time to be building these things out. So,
right.
So, I mean, whenever you talk about, maybe they've already made 6 million of these things, that makes sense because, if they've been building them for, 5 months or something like that.
I also feel like this whole announce almost 6 months ahead of time kind of thing that they did with the watch was kind of a one-off thing because they wanted people to know that they were building a wearable that wasn't quite ready. Because, I mean, anything else that they still currently have, people know it's coming. In fact, I've also heard that they're going to re-release the iPod this year now, but that's just a rumor. So,
I mean, probably not the classic, but
no, the Touch.
The small ones. Oh, the iPod Touch.
Yeah. So that should be interesting if that actually comes to fruition because they haven't put one out since I want to say 2012.
Yeah, I don't think they've revised the technology for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it would be good. I know a lot of people really liked the iPod Touch.
My second gen is hurting, so that would be a nice way to upgrade.
Yeah.
And there's also rumors of a new Apple TV coming out later this fall too. So
well, they're going to need to, so you can watch YouTube on it.
Yeah, right.
All right. So tell us a little bit about the Acer Predator.
So I put this in mainly because the aesthetics of this little portable tablet that's kind of going to be competing against the NVIDIA Shield gaming territory. I mean, this thing looks really cool. It's the Acer Predator tablet. It's an 8-inch tablet, and it's supposed to have like a haptic feedback built into the tablet, which is kind of interesting. It looks like it has front-facing speakers, so that is a good thing. And I mean, the thing looks like one of the old Alienware or even the newer Alienware computers. It's got like kind of that futuristic like gamer look to it, and I really like that. It might look a little silly to others, but I like it. It's really cool. And Acer is known for being, I want to say, affordable, not cheap, but affordable. And
Right.
so this could be a good viable solution for people who like the Shield but can't necessarily afford the Shield, depending on where the price point's going to be. Now, there's not a lot of specs out for this just yet. I mean, it's got a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and a micro USB charging port. It looks like it's got a camera in the back, probably a camera in the front. But other than that, there wasn't really a lot to this thing. In fact, the demo device they're showing didn't even like turn on or work. It was just a demo device to see what people thought. But I feel like they'll get a good response out of this, and this might become a thing. So
Yeah, it's you mentioned the Alienware, and that's kind of the first thing I was thinking of as I was looking at these images.
yeah, and that
And then
go ahead.
I look at the the font and the icon that they use for this, and I just immediately think Decepticons.
I did too.
Transformers. I'm like, that is kind of funky, but I like it.
Another silly reason why I liked it aesthetically.
Yeah, it just catches your eye if you're a big Transformers fan, like myself.
Myself included.
Oh yeah. So no, it looks pretty interesting actually. I was like, will this be what kind of OS would this be running?
Oh, I'm guessing Android if they're shooting for the NVIDIA Shield, because I believe that's what that runs.
Yes.
So, yeah, I believe it'd be Android. It'd be interesting if they released a Windows and an Android version, because, well, the Windows version, if for anything below, what is it, 10 inches is free?
Something like that.
So, or maybe it's
Maybe
anything
I think
below
it's 7.
8. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, it'd be interesting, to say the least.
Interesting. Yeah. So moving back to Apple, Apple has lost, well, they're not really losing. A couple people are retiring from Apple. Senior PR director Natalie Karras is retiring. She's been with Apple 14 years, and she helped spearhead, launches, including, the iPhone. She's been with them since 2001. And, of course, people always want to announce via tweet. So she's leaving, and follows retirement last year, longtime Vice President of Public Relations Katie Cotton, and the recent promotion of Steve Dowling to take Cotton's place. She was instrumental in helping plan and coordinate numerous launches, including the iPhone, as mentioned before. On behalf of everyone there at iMore, they want to congratulate her. So she is leaving, and also the chief who kind of led the development of Final Cut Pro, the Final Cut video editing software, Randy Ubilos, has also announced his retirement from Apple. And he's been with Apple for 20 years, led the development of Final Cut Pro, as well as versions of iMovie and iPhoto. So, and he also announced that he was leaving via Twitter. So that's it's two fairly important people leaving the company. I guess they waited around so they could get a gold Apple Watch. Everybody always associates retiring with getting a gold watch from a company. So I don't even think companies do that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they kind of have gotten away from that. But yeah, when I saw the story, I originally had thought that they were leaving for a different company, which is, now that I think about it, kind of silly because, well, Apple's, the richest company in the world. So,
well, I'm sure these two people will pop up somewhere else. I mean, people don't, in this industry, they don't just retire and, just
they kind of
start traveling the world doing whatever they find out a few months after, a little bit of freedom. They're like, okay, I still want to do some kind of work.
Freedom's boring.
Come on as a consultant or an advisor or something.
Right. Kind of like Bill Gates. He's been just kind of a board advisor person for Microsoft. So.
Yeah, seems like for 10 or 20 years.
Right.
Seems like he's been in that position for a long time.
I mean, he does a lot of philanthropy stuff, and that's good. We definitely need more of that.
Yeah, when you got the money, you can be a philanthropist.
Yeah, that's very true. And we all know he has got plenty of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he donates more way more money than most people will make in a lifetime.
Oh, right, or a few lifetimes.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Miracast and the Xbox One.
So this makes me kind of excited slash maybe a little mad. So I originally bought the Miracast dongle from Microsoft Store, and I'm going to keep it because it'll make it a portable thing for future devices for me. But in May, they're going to have an update for Miracast support for any of your Windows devices, Android devices, and you'll be able to cast your screen onto the TV via Xbox. So that is very good news. Um, Also, they have a few other things which I wasn't too crazy about. It was mostly the Miracast, but they have the power on and off from your Xbox Smart Glass. Very cool. Over-the-air live TV support. That's also coming with a dedicated device here soon. An opt-in power mode, which we had already talked about, I think, on a previous show, if not the MS Mobile show. And then the voice messages, which has been on the 360 forever, but it's been missing that feature on the Xbox One, but they are coming. Now, I don't know if they're coming directly in the next patch, but they are coming, and they will make it eventually, so no worries.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely the Miracast. If you have a Surface, a Windows Phone, or an Android device, this kind of makes it to where you don't have to buy a dongle to cast your screen to your TV now. You just use your Xbox. So I know a few friends that'll be very happy about that.
Yeah. It's nice. How much is the Miracast?
The Miracast is a little on the pricey side for a dongle. It is $60.
$60.
Yeah, but compared to the Chromecast, which is what I want to say 25, 30?
I think it's 35 of
Okay.
retail.
Yeah. And then they sometimes go on sale, or you can get it on Amazon for cheaper.
Yeah, or refurbished on Groupon for like $20 or $25.
Right. So
Crazy.
I don't know. I feel like the Miracast dongle's a little expensive, but I mean, I guess for what it does, I can kind of see why it'd be a little more expensive, but I don't think $60 versus the 30. I don't think it's that much more. I don't know. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Just one other little thing too that I wanted to kind of touch on is about the Hubble Space Telescope.
Yeah.
25 years. This thing's been floating around.
I can't believe it's been that long already.
So some of the things, The Verge has posted in this little post that have happened in 25 years since NASA launched the Hubble Space Telescope. The release of Windows 3.0, the first season of The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
Which, I mean, when you think about The Simpsons, I remember watching The Simpsons when I was in middle school. So, yeah, that's a long time ago, folks. So I'm old, okay? I'm old. And, yeah, it's just, it's crazy. And, looking at some of these images that, they've been sending back from this thing. Just, it's really impressive, the technology and stuff, the images that have been able to be captured with the Hubble. It's just really, really impressive stuff. So
yeah,
what are your thoughts on the Hubble?
Oh, it's awesome. Anything space related, I am, diving into head first. I love that stuff. And for that to already be operating for 25 years and still going, that's incredible. Now, have they upgraded it? The past couple years with newer cameras, better cameras. I want to say they did, because they put out so the nebula, the pillars of creation. They had an original photo, and I think they put it side by side with the newer photo, and there's just so much more now that you can see of it. So I want to say they did upgrade the camera on it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I would think that they have somewhere. Let's trying to look through this thing. It had a massive mechanical failure sometime in 2009. It looks like
Oh, okay. So maybe that's when they chose to upgrade a few things.
Yeah. So I mean, according to this article, if Hubble can avoid another massive issue, that it's likely the telescope will continue to operate well into the 2020 decade.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, just throw in something real quick. T-Mobile had maybe a little too early announced the Lumia 640, not the XL, just the regular 640, and the price was $90.
Yeah.
That is a great price for that phone.
Oh, it would be, yeah.
Now, whether or not it stays that price, we'll see, because that has since been pulled off their website. Microsoft has not wanted to comment on that, so I'm sure we'll probably see more after build and know where it's going after build. But just food for thought.
Yeah. So for $90 for the 640 on T-Mobile, you would assume on AT&T it's going to be $15-$20 cheaper. It's kind of the way it seems to go when it comes to
Well, yeah, it does.
pricing between those two.
But that's a, even just for a little media device, that's a great price.
Right.
And it's got basically a 920 camera in it, from what I have gathered, and that's a great camera for low light. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
and it leads me to believe that the 640 XL price would probably only be about $30-$40 more.
right, exactly. I mean, originally the prices were, I want to say, close to 200 and then like 240. But if we're getting, down in the $80 range for the first one, and then like under 150 for the XL, that's a sweet spot for a lot of
If you can
people.
get a 640 XL for 150 or less,
Off contract, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's not the highest end hardware, but it'd be a nice, really, really nice device, and probably, in my opinion, it'd be a better buy than the 830.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess we will see about that.
Yes,
All right, so app and entertainment picks. Go ahead and share with what you've got here. You got a laundry list of things here.
it was Friday, and I wanted to add a few things to get some content to people. So
Yeah, you went kind of crazy.
yeah, I went a little nuts today. So I've got 3 to share. The first one I had rediscovered because I was listening to my Xbox music at work, and it turns out one of my favorite kind of side bands that does this just as a side project, it's called Metroid Metal. Now, basically, so Metroid is a game on Nintendo. It was one of the original 8 games that launched on Nintendo Entertainment System, and it's been kind of going ever since. We haven't seen anything recently, but we're hoping that something comes out. Anyway, they took music from all the different systems and turned it into basically metal, music, obviously without lyrics. But if you just like rock or metal or just instrumental in general, I would say check it out because it's pretty good stuff. And if you like Metroid, you're gonna love this. You really will. You will definitely hear the undertones from the music in the game, and it just sends chills up my spine every time I listen to it. It puts me in a really good mood. Because I've had a lot of good time playing Metroid. It's definitely one of my favorite games in the Nintendo and just of all time. I love Metroid, so check that out. That's literally anywhere you can find music too, so have at that. And then my TV pick is Grace Point. Now, there is a British version called Broadchurch, and it's hard to say which one you should watch first, but you should watch both of them because David Tennant, one of the former doctors in Doctor Who, is in both of them, and it's funny listening to his American accent versus his actual real accent from Scottish accent. But it's a great show. It's when a young boy is found dead on an idyllic beach, a major police investigation gets underway in a small California seaside town where the tragedy has occurred. So it's kind of a investigative mystery kind of show, but it is, I think, done very well. And really, the ending for it made it for me. So The ending was really good, in my opinion. And Anna Gunn, which is also in Breaking Bad,
I see that.
is one of the characters. So that gives you another reason maybe to check it out. I would do so. But that's Grace Point, and I couldn't seem to find it on Blu-ray on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure you could find it, digitally elsewhere. The last thing I wanted to mention real quick is Norton's password generator. It's identitysafe.norton.com/password generator. And basically you can create any kind of password. I'm not sure how long the length you could. It looks like you can create, 9,999 password length if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but it looks like it'll allow you to do so. So, what was that, Kevin?
Looks like as big as you can fill in that box. Actually.
Yeah. So that's interesting. You can include letters, mixed cases, numbers, punctuation, and no similar characters, and you can generate multiple passwords. All this at the same time with a click of a button. So this is really good, and I think we should get more into the habit of this until we get more biometric scanning and what have you, because I know that's down the pipeline, and I really want that. But in the meantime, this is a good way to keep your passwords, random and just nothing that's like an actual word, like I don't know. One of the most used passwords or that I can remember is like shadow. Like people use shadow all the time, like shadow 123 or something.
Yeah. Or just the word password.
Or just the word password 123 or 123456. Like, don't do that. Go here, generate a password, and then put it in like a lockbox or like I prefer password padlock on Windows and Windows Phone. It's one of my favorites. I believe it's free, and you can send all your passwords to OneDrive. So when you get a new device, you don't have to retype them all in. They're just there and ready to go. All right. Yeah. That was a lot.
That's a nice little submission. I really like this password generator. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah,
I'm always trying to figure out new passwords and then try to remember them. It'll be a pain in the butt sometimes.
Yeah, I have that pinned actually to my start bar because I change my passwords quite frequently now. And I use two-factor authentication now on Twitter and on my Microsoft account because I'm a little paranoid about those two particularly.
I can understand. I know I don't have this actually in the show notes, but I will put it in there, of course. But I watched it's a classic film, classic comedy, Airplane. Have you ever seen Airplane?
Yeah. So the only reason I have seen it is because my fiance Sarah is more into those classical, I guess, kind of movies, and one of the first ones she showed me was Airplane. And I'm a little younger, so maybe I didn't get all the humor, but it's really funny. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Peter Graves, Lloyd Bridges, Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries. It was actually really neat seeing, the cast of people that they got to be on this. And one of the reasons that actually made me want to watch it, because I've been on this Breaking Bad kick, so I was looking through things on Netflix. You click on an actor's name, and what else have they been in? And I clicked on Jonathan Banks, who plays Mike Ehrmantraut in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and he was in Airplane. I'm like, okay. So I saw how long the movie was, only like an hour and 20 minutes, so it's a really short movie.
Well, it's a comedy, so that's not bad.
Set on a plane, and that's the only set they really use is a plane, and short brief period in the airport, a couple off scenes.
Surely you can't be serious. Of course I'm serious, but don't call me Shirley.
I was like, it's actually pretty good. But watching through it, I'm sitting there looking at the two jive talking guys, and Barbara Billingsley, who played the mom on Leave It to Beaver, June. I don't know why I couldn't think of June Cleaver, one of my favorite shows.
Rewatch this.
Yeah, and I'm looking through it. I'm like, there's some of the stuff that they're doing on here that they probably could not get away with today.
Well,
and it's also kind of like Blazing Saddles. I don't know if you could get away with Blazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can get away with Blazing Saddles today with as racially tense as the United States
Ah, I see.
is
Okay. Yeah.
right now. I don't know. It's just some of the things I was thinking about, while I was watching. I'm like, yeah, I just don't think you can get away with that today, but I could be wrong. So if you haven't ever had a chance to watch Airplane, and I know there's a sequel out there, so I still need to watch the sequel, but give some of these older movies a chance.
Definitely. Definitely.
And actually, I think because Airplane's currently on Netflix, but I think Airplane's going away in a couple weeks. Netflix always removing and adding new and old movies and shows to their lineup. So head over to Netflix, watch Airplane real quick. Like I said, hour and 20 minutes. It's pretty short. And let us know what you think. I'm curious to know everybody else's opinions if you've never watched it before, because it's actually a pretty decent little movie. Pretty decent.
That it is.
Yeah. So that pretty much does it for me. That's about all I got. If you don't have anything else, Brad, we can wrap it up.
Just a reminder that Build is next week, so that is exciting times. All kinds of Microsoft news next week. So I feel like, I guess it would be next Friday's show. There'll be a lot of Microsoft talk.
Yeah, probably will be a lot of Microsoft talk. Still trying to figure out how we're going to do Wednesday's show because I'm unavailable. I've got to go do some things for another project. A little media coverage on an event here in St. Louis, so I will be unable to make that. But
Yeah,
I know Vernon and David Kimball will be on the MS Mobile Show
on Monday.
This coming Monday
right.
at 1 p.m. Central Time. To always try to get my time zones right. And I'm sure they're going to be talking about Build and what's coming up, what they expect, and also some other interesting Microsoft news. So check it out, msmobileshow.com/live at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that pretty much does it for me. Again, my name is Kevin Harvell. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell. You can find Brad on Twitter at Holy_Shadows. And also on Xbox Live at just simply Holy Shadows. No underscore. So that pretty much does it. Thank you, everybody, for listening, joining us in the chat room. Send any comments, suggestions, feedback, guest suggestions, because I do want to start scheduling more guests. It's about time we start bringing some more guests back on, giving people a chance to talk. And so we'll do that. Send those to contact@thetechinformist.com, and look forward to hearing from you. So that pretty much does it for me. Any last words, Brad?
Nope. That's it.
All right. All right. So that pretty much does it. Thank you all again. And until next time, have a great weekend. And until then, consider yourself informed. We are out.
Take care, guys.